Oh,
Got a party ready to happen. I love this. Today's going to be a little different. For those that are familiar with this is, you're not just going to be getting talked at the whole time today. So prepare for a little different flavor of, in all aspects, how we're going about moving through the world and trying to make things better. All right. Well, so leading with love, maybe not a phrase that we've heard a whole lot in the context of trying to make things better. How do we make change? And a lot of us maybe found ourselves coming here not liking the way things are and wanting things to be different. This whole space is how do we lead with love, in going about doing that and applying this gratitude-based approach to healing food systems. So want to share kind of the plan for today. So going to give some context and ground us in the essence of this project. And there's way too many awesome humans on here not to connect with one another. So we're gonna make sure everyone gets a chance to meet, and then we're gonna get to hear some stories. So folks that have gone through our most recent training and accelerator programs, putting into practice this essence of what we're talking about. And from there, what are the directions we can take this, opportunities from here to live this way, and put this into practice. And that'll be kind of the end of our 60 minutes. At the end, we always do our after party. And so we find that gratitude-based learning, this approach of leading with love and gratitude and curiosity, it opens us all up in pretty amazing ways. And when the 60 minutes is over, the bandwidth's open, and we just keep vibing. So for those that need to drop at the hour, you can drop, but we'll keep an after party going for those that want to keep the fun. So our essence really is this. We're going about trying to heal our food system, and that's really the entry point, but we're applying this to our lives in general. And so how do we go about this? Leading with love instead of fear, from a place of gratitude versus just looking for problems everywhere, from a place of gratitude rather than just telling everyone what we think should be done, from a place of connecting rather than dividing, from this game of discovery rather than pushing what we think is the way, celebrating what's coming up, even if it's frustrating and causes friction, rather than avoiding those things, and ultimately creating an environment that's supportive rather than isolating. And for this project, the entry point is healing our food system. But what we're finding is it starts with how do we heal our food system, but we end up really applying this to so many aspects of our lives. And as we hear more of the stories today, you'll see this ripples out beyond what we thought. So this essence we've been packaging into really three programs. And so the first is a training. So how do we get trained in this gratitude-based approach? And that's our Leading with Love training program. And from there, we then have an application of this, which is our discovery program. So you've been trained in this way, but then how can you apply this? Finding a place in which you can apply gratitude-based learning. We have a program to continue that supportive process. And then lastly is our incubator, which is our accelerator program. And so that is advancing a project, moving things forward using gratitude-based learning. And so folks can go through our training as many times as they want. Well, as we'll see, it can be easier and more challenging in different situations to lead with love and apply gratitude-based learning. And so you can go through that as many times as you want. But then we have this continuation of programs to support this essence coming to fruition in our lives. It's not just this crazy idea. Well, it started as this little crazy idea, but it's growing into this global movement that everyone here is part of creating. And excited to share that we have entered our 6th continent as of this last cohort. So we're now in 6 continents. We had a member participating from South Africa, and we've been in 10 countries, 12 different states in the United States, and 41 different doers, as we call them, participating in our programs over the last year here. And so this has all been a development in the last year of building out these programs and how we capture this essence into an experience that we can collectively grow and develop from. And it's breeded a whole lot of connection. And so we've connected with neighbors, family, farmers, chefs, restaurant owners, cheesemakers, cafeteria members, a lot of different areas, and just really one another, one connection at a time. We've been practicing gratitude-based learning, practicing this way of being, and it's been pretty profound. And so today we're going to get to hear stories from folks who have gone through our programs and our latest round of programs, and hear what it was like for them. What did they discover? What came about from this experience from their perspective? And so with that, though, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so at least I can see all the lovely faces. We're gonna create some space for us to connect with one another. And to that, though, we're gonna put out a question to explore together, because there's this concept of ripple effects that we do emphasize in our training programs. And everything we're doing creates ripples. Every connection, every conversation, everything. And so there's something that spoke to you to come here today. If something hadn't happened at some point, however far back in life, you would not be here at this moment in this event, listening to this after the fact. And rather than calling that stuff good or bad or whatever, which we can just celebrate, that's what it is. And so in the breakout room, the game of discovery for us is, what are the ripples that brought you here today? And we'll have 5 minutes to get as curious as can be with one another. Introduce yourself, but let's see how much we can discover behind the ripples that brought you here today.
Welcome everybody back to the space here. So,
I love this.
Are you taking the lead, Adam?
Yes, and I just want to let you know that I know 4 minutes. None of the breakouts ever feel like they're enough time. We are going to be doing more throughout the time today, and the intention is to pair us back up with the same folks. So we're deepening that connection, which a little bit of a metaphor for what are we doing here in the program is deepening that connection. So before passing it off to hear from folks to kind of celebrate the stories of discovery and what unfolded, just some context on this training program, the Leading with Love training program. Basically over the course of 6 weeks, and just what you're going to hear is basically 10 hours of 90 minutes together, where we got to introduce gratitude-based learning and then practice having curiosity conversations with stakeholders in our food system. So people got to choose who that was, and that was called the entry point. But so we had the support of a group and self-reflection, and then one-on-one support from a facilitator. And like I said at the beginning, these conversations on food it's called the entry point, but we'll see, it gets far beyond food. So with that, I'll pass it to Henrik to MC here.
So I'd like to ask Casey, you're with us here today. Could I ask you to share something about what was your experience going through the cohort Leading with Love training? What's the story that unfolded for you that you could share with these people, please?
Yeah, is it okay if I just read it? Is that
absolutely no problem?
Good. Oh, I gotta get there. All right. Cohort 7. Gratitude-based learning, leading with love. Training has been an amazing addition to my life path. Prior to joining the group, my life had taken a complete turn for the better. I made a big choice, and through the grace and compassion of all that is, it changed my life in so many ways. This cohort has done more for me in 6 weeks than I ever could have imagined. I'm able to understand and take action on what I have learned over the past years and use the community guidelines of the program to propel myself forward and upward in remarkable ways. Lead with love. I have been leading with love through the program. I have found why this one is so important and also so powerful. I have opened myself to give and receive love, and in turn, my abilities as a wife and a mother have grown exponentially. It gave me the courage to buck the old ways of raising children and catapulted me into unknown realms of possibilities. I'm able to love my children through challenging situations, keep myself calm, and be present in more moments each day. I have created more love for myself, which has included the ability to give myself grace, forgiveness, and compassion for my mistakes and all the harm I've caused in my life. This has allowed me to move forward and to learn much more about how to relax and release in moments of friction. Embracing friction in the past has not been successful. Through this program, I'm able to recognize friction easily and then make it a mental point to relax, release, and to see the lesson to be learned. I can respond much more appropriately by being present and curious. When I truly listen to another person by being curious, respectful, and supportive of their own journey in life, instead of thinking about what I'm going to say, I have been able to let go of the need to tell everyone everything I think. I no longer feel accountable for others' choices. I'm on a path to stay in happiness as an active choice in every moment. The amount of fun, laughing, and giggling in my life has profoundly increased. In moments afraid to say anything, I can now be more confident and have a curious conversation in a positive way. Through my intentions and my actions, I strive to make positive ripples of love. This has enabled me to keep a growth mindset of having an open mind and using discernment to release all limiting beliefs and only put truth and love into my cup. This program helped me find the courage to reach out to a local community garden. I ended up having a wonderful conversation with one of the volunteers. I learned how the garden works and ended up renting 2 plots from them for the summer. I'm so excited to grow more food that we don't have room for at our house. Each one-on-one with the other participants during the cohort propelled my abilities even further. It was so amazing to have these conversations in a safe place, to be curious and open-minded and speak to others who are open-minded. I am hopeful this will open the door to even more possibilities for creating an exciting life that I truly want and deserve. I am forever grateful and in love with this cohort.
So beautiful, Katie. Thank you so much for sharing. We have our little special celebration there. Yeah. So thank you so much. Rex, are you here with us today? I see you should be online.
I am. I hope the connection will hold up. I just dropped and then popped back in.
Yeah. So go for it while you're online.
Yeah, sure.
What's your story?
Go ahead and read. Also, I'll report in. I had a great meeting today and follow through on work that we were engaging with a farm manager at a local nonprofit that's 12-acre of farmland. They're about half of it is cover cropped, and they're producing 100,000 pounds of produce a year, vegetable produce. They've got some animals. They've got chickens fertilizing and a small flock of sheep they've just begun to work with. And 50,000 pounds of that 100,000 goes to food security for a no charge to a food bank and other sort of projects. But awesome organization and really nice. I mean, you guys all know I got to visit a farm today. It's a beautiful in the spring in Massachusetts scene, and meet people who are just working passionately in the field and doing regenerative farming. So it was the easiest stuff to drop into conversation on, but doing that with more eloquence was really nice. This group has helped me to find a way to listen better. And I'll just go ahead and read that. The 6-week program struck me as a rare opportunity from the first introduction. It felt unusually inviting, this chance to learn and study with a cohort of change makers about creating and deepening awareness of regenerative connections in my community, and to receive all this gratitude. Saying yes was a form of respect for the compassionate boldness of the folks leading in this opportunity that reverberates in me. It's fair to say that my experience here has been positively life-changing, and that I feel included in a beautiful sea change. Change yourself to change the world is brilliant wisdom made famous by Mahatma Gandhi, and the GBL system, the gratitude-based learning system, as I interfaced with it, presents clear and careful openings to make lasting change and healthy growth spurts with great support. Adam and Henrik, as well as the members of my cohort, lean in most respectfully to the concept that though leadership itself cannot be taught, the conditions for its emergence can be established and cultivated within the student, within the environment and the student. The learning environment, that is. As I apply GBL principles in my daily experiences, curiosity gracefully inspires multiple conversations that I have begun or continued with members of my community, friends, and family. I am becoming a better listener in conversations and in stillness. This is tremendously fulfilling, and it fills out a wondrous sense of abundance and connection that, I dare say, is contagious. Via applied social technology that is simple and naturally relationship building, GBL has enhanced my access to and use of authenticity, affirming language, orientation toward acceptance and understanding, and commitment to holistic wellness. I'm engaging conversations with owners and managers of farms and businesses that I have until now appreciated from a less involved perspective. And I am welcomed as a peer in an increasingly progressive community realizing good health and greater happiness. So many thanks to the leaders, to my cohort members and fellow doers of previous cohorts, and to all that has brought us to this moment.
Thank you, Rex. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh.
So, yeah, those are just two examples of everything that goes on or can happen if you join one of these cohorts, right? But why not try it out for ourselves? I'm going to send you out again in these same groups, hopefully. And this time you'll have 4 minutes again. Really try to be curious about why do you think you were meant to meet just that another person in this special room? Computer sorted out randomly, the first one, and I'm just trying to put into the same one again. But why do you think the computer chose exactly this person? Discover as much as you can, and you'll be back here very soon. Welcome back. What a trip. So much happened in just 4 minutes. Passing it to Adam. Any...
Yeah, before we move on to we've got more stories and more breakouts, so don't worry. You're not just going to be stuck with me talking the rest of this time. But I want to just transition here to what we're going to hear next is some folks that just went through our accelerator program. And this, you know, in my breakout room with Brooke just now, we were talking about the power of these curiosity conversations and how it opens us up and builds trust. We're building relationships, we're building trusted relationships, and one another, we're able to feel seen and heard and valued, appreciated. And that trust allows us to be able to opens up the door for the possibilities to come about, whether we're working on teams, whether we're just neighbors, we're family members. We want all this stuff to happen, but if there's not trust and all we're doing is just telling, it makes it challenging for us to have all that stuff that we want and all the stuff we don't even know is possible. And so coming through this lens of gratitude and curiosity, it opens up that bandwidth. It creates that possibility, that creates that trust. So what we have now, though, is that's wonderful, right? It's a wonderful way of, it's a very different world if we're all moving through the world that way. We also, though, have the aspirations of projects and things that we want to be working on and ways that we want to, how do we bring this way of being into the stuff that we're working on in our lives? And so I think it's our first time really in this accelerator, and we're discovering new stuff. And so we'll open it up. I'll pass it back to you, Henrik, if you want to prime this anymore. But it's what we're discovering from folks that have continued on this journey of entering through the training and seeing what follows.
I think we'll try something new this time. So passing it to Wyatt and Brooke to have a conversation about what is this crazy thing that these guys got going. You're free to share whatever is in your space, but just keep a conversation, please. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Wyatt.
Straight. Oh, there you are. You just popped up on my screen, Brooke. So we're gonna have a conversation between the two of us about these crazy people and their crazy plans.
Exactly.
And we've been in this for a lot of times now. You know, maybe it's 4 times for me or something like that. And so we're finally at the peak. We're at the accelerator. What did you experience being a maybe nearly a black belt in the program?
I think I'm honored to be a black belt. Thank you. So I actually so highly recommend the accelerator program for a few reasons. After going through all of the basic, we'll call it training, learning about how to have gratitude-based curiosity conversations, applying it to projects and actually taking the next step. The mapping system that was introduced was at first a little, I think all of us were kind of struggling a bit with, okay, how do we do this? What are we supposed to do? And, but after working together, it became clearer. And some of us were drawing little maps, like Eric was brilliant. And then and Wyatt did his bit, and mine was all typed out. And it really helps to look at all the various facets involved in your project. So it makes one become clearer, I think, more targeted, focused, and you start coming up with things that perhaps you wouldn't normally have thought of if it had just stayed in your head.
Yeah.
So I was like, Wyatt, what about you? Because the whole music, I thought, thing was really wonderful too. So back to you.
I mean, mine was so confusing because, like, I felt very what's the word, not underwhelmed, but unmotivated in this accelerator program. And one thing that was wonderful was, like, doesn't matter, still you're doing great, everyone supports you, it's fine. Like, the consistency of support showing up and a total acceptance of wherever you're at and you're not on your own, and it was amazing. And at the same time, I somehow managed to get really unique music performance opportunities the entire time.
You did.
So, I mean, I played at the Independent National Convention, which was really fun. And I got to see how the messages within my music are really well received by people who are causing change in narratives throughout society. So I think that was really wonderful. And on a personal note, I mean, I've never had a more challenging opportunity to embrace gratitude-based learning than going through a breakup. And that has revealed to me that I need to be maybe back in the training program again. And I might start the loop over and take my white belt back.
I love that. And Wyatt, you're bringing up something that we all face in all these programs, which is life. So, and life shows up in however it shows up, and that can be with friction or good news or whatever. And I think that was just beautifully stated. So it was wonderful. I loved our group. We were everybody, and it was really, really wonderful. So
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
agree. It was great to have that group. And I'll just give a shout out. Eric was just charging. Just
Yes.
Absolutely. He's very methodical, getting things done, revisiting it when he didn't have it right the first time. Is like the persistence and the attitude with Eric was just super motivating for me. I was like, wow, this guy's really doing it right.
And Jessica did a wonderful, Jessica was also going through some major challenges, but she kept showing up as well when she could. So just everybody, you guys are brilliant.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So, yeah, beautiful things can unfold, even though it feels like the world out there, lost, confusing, whatever. And I think when we come together, we have a chance of, sitting with the friction, being together about it, and finding a way forward. That's the aim here, at least. So, thank you so much for sharing. Adam?
I might add on to this. So that what Wyatt said is actually this part of this desire to repeat. Part of, I think, why that is because the accelerator, when we're working on projects with this intentional mindset, we're creating a lot of opportunities for friction. When we get together with people, when we're going and having curiosity conversations, we're creating opportunities for friction. And every time we're creating that opportunity for friction, no interaction's the same. So it might be easier for me to apply gratitude-based learning in some situations and way more difficult in others. And when I'm not prepared, it can be even harder. And so we find opportunities where like, oh, we're repatterning. What we're really doing is we're repatterning the way that we respond and the way that we engage. And we provide a vessel for doing that in the training program. But then as we get into the accelerator, your project becomes that vessel. And it's a very different experience going through, whether it's starting a company or pursuing, going from a concept to a project plan. It can be a very lonely experience trying to isolate and do that on your own. When you start doing that in community, it's pretty accelerant.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
with that, we'll prime the next breakout room, I think, which is the situations in life that you might want to apply this, that what are the situations that you lead with love in, or where do you experience friction? Where would you like to apply more of this essence to your life? Because we are dynamic beings.
So exciting. Welcome back. Oh boy, oh boy.
Nice to see everyone.
Do we dare to ask a little bit about what was uncovered out in that space? What's something you would like to share? Opening up here, you can just pop in. Don't need to raise your hand.
Lorraine and I do like the same exact work, and that was really wild. Yeah.
You gotta be kidding.
Which is like very niche too. Yeah. So we really connected on that, and just like being in different places of our life, but having a very similar approach to like our sports endeavors and athletics and coaching and just philosophy. That was really fun, which we just now got to in the third session.
That's why the rule number one here: keep showing up, and then you'll get to the good stuff. Passing it to Adam.
you.
Do you have a few more words?
Yeah, my mind's just a little blown right now. I love this.
And if I could just share real quickly, so I'm 67 and I run marathons, and my goal is to be 105, and my last step in a race is my last step. But I was curious why I wasn't always so motivated by winning. I was more motivated by the experience of being, in nature, that kind of thing. And I asked Amanda about that, and she totally gets it. And, I thought, why am I like that? Is that okay? And Amanda, you get it, don't you?
It's like, I think I spoke words that we both shared. And then my goal is to be 67 and 105 and still be running marathons. And like, that's why I do and live my life the way I do now. And so it's always nice to see someone that you look up to and like hope to become one day.
And if I could just share real quickly, and the reason why I want to learn more about food and how to help provide food to others and ourselves is, when you go in the grocery store, you really aren't seeing much fresh produce, at least in Colorado. And I know we need to have
in
those.
Colorado. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is
Like the
going to be
shelves were bare in Whole Foods yesterday in Golden, Colorado. And I want that healthy food to be available to all of us. Otherwise, we're going to eat bad stuff, and we don't want to do that.
And then we're not going to get to 105. Yeah.
Right.
So amazing.
This is just beautiful on so many fronts. On one front, I share that with you. There's a lacrosse tournament that I'm going to be 75 playing in. So I share that with you. We're going to be even less hair, even more wrinkly, and it's going to be amazing. But this showcase has been about how are things evolving, and there's been this organic evolution. I mean, this literally started with high school students wanting to bring this into their space. And then when we brought it into Farmers Footprint, a regenerative agriculture nonprofit, and Inez is here, who's an awesome community steward in Farmers Footprint. There was literally two people that said, "Hey, we're gonna test this out. we're going to see what this is like. And it's continually expanded from there. So Lorraine, when you bring up Colorado, there has been this contingent from Colorado that has been coming through the community here. So one of the evolutions is, how are we creating this online program for, program for offline living? Like, how are we actually using this as a means, not just to live, online, but how do we actually bring this into our space, feet on the ground, connecting with folks? And I live in San Diego, and it's been really fun to start to bring some of that into the San Diego space. And yeah, so Denver hubs, there will be a connection there.
Colorado hub.
Colorado hub. Sorry, Colorado hub. So to that, I will share my screen here so that we're so kind of what's next, opportunities to get involved from here. So there's specifically this Leading with Love training program, specifically this healing food systems pathway of the training program, and that coming up. We also have, if you know any high school students, we have a fellowship program for high school students that want to learn how to bring this into their schools and learn how to start projects. And we also do for organizations and companies, bringing gratitude-based leadership, bringing this way of being into companies and into organizations. On our website, you'll honoraglobal.com/trainings. You'll be able to learn a whole lot more about those pathways and ways to bring this in there. But specifically for our training program for food system healing, Leading with Love, we have an info session next Thursday, the same exact time, 6 o'clock Eastern. And that info session is a prerequisite to joining our program. And that next cohort, that 8th cohort, starts the week of May 29th. So if for some reason you can't make the 18th, but you're still very interested, send us a note. And we'll throw those links in the chat. Also, and everyone who registered for this too, we'll be sending out all those links. So with that, I will pause because I realize a whole lot of information that has come about. And yeah, we'll pause and open for questions. A lot of the details of what happens in the programs and the expectations and what are we doing with everything, that we'll get into in the info session. But any questions before we open up the floor to get the creative juice is flowing a little extra. Okay, well, don't worry. I see a hand. Feel free. Is it Shana?
It's Shanna, like Anna.
Shanna, love it.
Yeah. Is there a culture of when people are talking to be not visible?
There is quite the opposite.
Okay.
Our gatherings are pretty interactive. So
Okay.
if anything, it's more of a culture where usually the microphones aren't even muted, but in our programs.
I love connecting to faces, and I don't mind having my face on, but I thought, oh, is it distracting? And when someone's talking, should I be off screen? I just wanted to make sure, because I feel like am I the only one? And just wanted to make sure if that's like out of respect that, when people are talking, that you're off screen or something.
Well, it's actually, I'm not really glad you brought this up, because the culture ends up becoming, like any ecosystem, who's there, that becomes the culture. And so we can set a container, set guidelines, but we get out of this what people put in. So no one's required to do anything except really show up. That's 90% of life is showing up, as my dad always says. So that's really the baseline for everything, is show up. And from there, yeah, what happens with the people there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it is true. It is that thing, just showing up. There's a lot more you can take away from the program, depending on how much you put into it, right? We'll be putting out questions for reflection, and so how much time you'd like to spend reflecting on filling out surveys and stuff like that, that's up to you. But what we ask of people in the program, just show up, you know, because then we have a chance for helping each other.
I want you to take note in seeing this video, try to see where you are, because we realize that some of the stuff we're putting out here might be crazy aspirational. It might sound crazy to somebody, but want to share this video and put it into context.
So ladies and gentlemen, at TED, we talk a lot about leadership and how to make a movement. So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course, you know, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts, 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement. So notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So over the next minute, you'll see all of the those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. But let's recap some lessons from this. So first, if you are the type, like the shirtless dancing guy, that is standing alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals. So it's clearly about the movement, not you. Okay, but we might have missed the real lesson here. The biggest lesson, if you noticed, did you catch it? Is that leadership is over-glorified. That yes, it was the shirtless guy was first, and he'll get all the credit, but it was really the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in. And what a perfect place to do that at TED. Thanks.
So with that, I know we're at the hour here, but just wanted to share a gigantic thank you to every single person here that whatever it was that spoke to you to show up, we're pioneering something new here together. And it's one person at a time, sharing with one person. That's how things ripple out. It's so just really grateful that whatever it was that spoke to you said, let's come into this space. And so with that, I will say we have officially entered the after party space. But with that, Henrik, is it okay if I just throw out a question to
Absolutely, go for it.
off? So I know this is a lot of different stuff we're putting out there, and some people have heard this before, others this is new. And you might be like, who are these crazy people? Which is fair too. Question I want to put out there is, wouldn't it be amazing if, where would you love to see this go? What possibilities do you see? And that'll be it. Wouldn't it be amazing if what? And let's see, we're in the after party here, so that will flow wherever it flows.